Boom. We are live, people. It's been a minute, but I'm back with my man Terrell down in Miami. It's almost been like a year or some change since we did one of these. So good
Yeah,
to see you, my brother.
good to see you too, man. Happy to be back on doing our live stream, man. And I used to love these, so I'm super excited to kind of get everything back in the swing. We're gonna have more of these more frequently now, especially because of the change and
For sure.
being a part of the EXP family now. So I'm
For
excited.
sure. For sure. So as you guys know, we like to compare different markets because overall we know a ton of people move to Florida, but still within Florida, Orlando is completely different than Miami and vice versa. So our whole goal is to educate the people who are moving here or the people who are looking to move down to Miami or vice versa. So Terrell, 2023, right? The first quarter, what are you guys seeing in the Miami market to kind of start off?
Man, honestly, in my opinion, I'm seeing like a pickup a little bit. I think like at a point in 2022, towards the mid latter part, was buyers experiencing a bit of payment shock when it
Yep.
came to the rising interest rates and things like that. So you're starting to now see the rates stable off a little bit, and we're seeing consistency. And also, we are seeing that the rates aren't going anywhere.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
so that being said, I think the conversation has shifted back to the lack of inventory
Yep.
uh, that we have in South Florida. So it's still a competitive space. I'm still getting multiple offers on listings that I do. So even some people are still paying above appraisal amount. So
Yeah.
I think like that has kind of reinfused back into the market as far as the competitiveness in South Florida.
Yeah.
How about?
Yeah. And it's interesting to hear because it almost kind of still mirrors your guys' price point is much different than ours. Like last time I looked on Monday, the median price in or well yesterday, I mean the median price in Orlando is like 410,
Mhm.
right? But we are starting to see, just like you mentioned, people are just like, these are going to be the interest rates. I still need a home. So you mentioned something that I've been saying for the past 4 months is, hey, people are still offering multiple, or you're dealing with multiple offer situations. So talk to me about those listings, at least down there, that you're getting those multiple offer situations. What type of houses are you seeing that are kind of getting that attention?
Well, more than any, the homes that pretty much fall underneath the FHA max loan limit. I think you get more buyers in the market when you're dealing with that. So you're talking about South Florida being around 557K loan amount. So you're around about 570, round to 600 price point. You're
Yeah.
still seeing a high level of competitiveness because there are more buyers in the market that are approved to purchase. And being that FHA has lower rates at the current moment, a lot of consumers are flocking to FHA financing. And then even on the seller side, you're starting to see sellers be a little bit more open to accepting FHA financing as
Yeah.
well. Being that they opened up the affordability in 2023 with the new loan limit increase. So, what that has done is, allow more buyers to continue to purchase in South Florida while still trying to mitigate and fight that monthly balance increase that everybody's, harping on. So, anything under 600K has been the most competitive, in my opinion,
Crazy. Yeah.
because they have the
Yeah.
most buyers in the market. But yeah, that's pretty much it on that. Yeah.
What kind of buyers are you seeing? Because for instance, in Orlando right now, majority, at least in my business, are my people from Jersey, New York, Chicago, Maryland, and they're either doing one or two things. This is a vacation home, or they're buying Airbnb rentals close to the Disney area. What type of buyers are you seeing in your business and overall that are purchasing these homes down in Miami? Is it primary residence or what?
It depends, right? It depends, honestly, in regards to like the area, right? Like, so if you have some areas that are a little bit more attractive that may be close to the water or the beach area. You may have, still cash investors that are still willing to pay top dollar, like not looking for a discount, like they're offering whatever you're asking and some. That are being, they're beating out at, of course, the financing consumers because they can close quicker and have tendencies. So you have that there, but like when you're a little bit more inland and into the city area, centralized area, you're getting more still the primary buyers. But like you said though, like I'm seeing a lot, like on my listings, like a lot of investors or people from up north may be sending offers that are contingent upon the sale of their property up north because they're sitting on such a large amount of equity, and then really they're looking at our price points like, well, that's nothing.
Yeah.
So, you got people in New York and New Jersey that their price point is just astronomical. Even California, I'm seeing people from the West Coast come on over here to South Florida now because they're at $1 million. Their FHA loan limit is like almost 800. Don't quote me on that, but it's definitely substantially higher. So. I'm starting to see a lot of that still in the market, man. South Florida's still hot, man. I think it's going anywhere. I think everything has to do with pricing and making sure you're pricing yourself competitively.
And what are your areas? Because like for instance, Orlando, like actual Orlando, it's a higher price point, so a lot of people are going out further to still get, relatively, I'm 30 minutes away. Where in Miami is like, all right, this is a high area, you got to come correct, or if you want a little bit lower price point, what locations are those?
Anything in South Broward, I would think I would say is the most competitive space simply because it sits centrally on the county line where you can navigate right into Miami-Dade County. And then you have Broward County that you can go to as well. So South Broward is always going to be one of the hottest, areas in South Florida, specifically because of where it is centralized and your ability to go in both directions, depending on where you work at. So that, and then North Miami, of course, like the Miami Gardens area, things of that nature. Anything that sits alongside of that county line is always going to be the most competitive.
Boom. So that's is interesting because ours is like, if people are familiar with like Davenport, Kissimmee, because it's relative to the Disney area. So it's like an influx of people going there because they want to be close to Disney. But for the families, there's an area called Claremont, Winter Park in Orlando, where they're going there. But those price points are even at Miami's level 500,000-600,000. So I always like to see kind of if you guys experience the same thing, but that makes a whole bunch of sense how it's kind of laid out for proximity and location. You guys just have beaches, we have theme parks and everything like that. So your business though, let's talk about that. How are you managing your people? How are you continuing to grow it? And our market is changing, I feel like every 8 months, so what are you doing to manage that and keep your the foot on the pedal on the metal?
Well, to be honest with you, man, it's more so understanding, really the ideas and the mindset of the consumers right now in the marketplace, right? So being that I fix and flip properties, I'm doing mortgage, I'm listing properties, I got buyers as well. So I'm hearing it from every standpoint, right? I'm hearing the seller's perspective, but I'm hearing it from the buyer's perspective. And honestly, the buyer's perspective is a little bit more important because that's who you need to get the funding, right? So once you start understanding and identifying how to make certain listings a little bit more attractive, and what does that mean? Maybe giving a little bit of ground as far as credit. So as far as like my fix and flips, what I've been doing to get them off and not have them sit on the market for an extended period of time is I'm going to price it where I want as far as getting numbers, but then I'll give $5,000, $10,000, heck, I've even given $20,000 to a consumer. Just so it can make sense for them, where they can essentially come to closing with little to no cash, and that's for them because they're already paying a higher amount when it comes to the monthly expense right now. Then you spend it in a way where you say, okay, well, I'll help you up front. That way you can get into the home, and that extra money that you were going to spend, at closing, that would be that extra amount that you'll be spending towards your monthly expense. And then I always live by the motto, date the rate, marry the property. Rates fall down. I tell them, hey, when the rates fall down, you can go ahead and refinance and get into a lower rated term, which essentially directly affects your monthly expense. So just coming up with creative ways to one, still hit my target numbers when it comes to my investment properties, but then also helping the consumer because the market deserves it.
Yep, and it's that we're doing similar, at least for my listings. I price them super competitively, right? So I create our own bidding war. So we end up getting it above market value because we have 6, 7 offers. But what I've been doing as well is we have a lot of new constructions on the outskirts of Orlando. So they're giving lower interest rates. They're giving, if not all, close to all closing costs. So the same conversation that you're having with your flips, I'm like, look, you can add 15 minutes to your commute, okay, but you can put little to no money down, right? And you got majority of your closing costs covered. Plus, you're having a interest rate that is below what the market standard is. So it is a win-win. And please believe it's not going to last long with these builders, right? Because as the market kind of gets back, we're entering the spring and summer season. They're gonna, kind of pull back on all the stuff that they're giving. So I love to see that you already are doing it with your listings. I think it's super creative, and like you said, your product is not sitting on the market because you have that forward thinking.
Yeah, and that's really in any market, not just South Florida. Like I do stuff in Virginia. We're under contract in Virginia. We do stuff in different local markets in Florida, like Jacksonville. So it's always been about understanding and keeping a pulse on the consumer more than anybody else, and what's going to really push them and drive them kind of still want to acquire your property. But like you said, it does have a large role when it comes to pricing, and I say that because I just had one listing that people thought it was crazy. Listed it at 550 in a community in Pembroke Pines, right? Had 65 people at the open house. Where do you have that in today's market? Where do you see it down the block? And I had over 20 offers, right? And I had competitive listing agents that were, I was familiar with that listed in proximity, that listed high, that had one offer, 2 offers. Like you said before, you want to create that competitive space and draw the consumers in. Then when they see everybody alongside them, when they get to the house, gotta come on my high. So it works, man. I think a lot of realtors sometimes make a mistake in going for the gusto because we are in a commission-based business.
Yeah.
I think a lot of realtors kind of try to come out too high, too strong, and not understanding where we are in the market right now. You got to learn how to sell again. Everybody, when race was 3%, everybody was a realtor.
Yeah, for real. Now it separates who's who. So what do you, as we wrap up, your how are you setting things up going into typically the hotter seasons with the spring and the summer? What are you forecasting? What are you getting ready so you and your team are prepared?
Well, right now, like you said, it's the hot season. You got a lot of people that are getting their income tax money, so they got some liquidity right now. So you'll see a lot of buyers kind of reinfuse back into the market. And then my thing is just really trying to create this high level of constant contact with my database and the people that I'm working alongside of, while also offering as much information because the market is moving very fast. And then also the media can, skew things in a bit, scare consumers in a bit.
Market crashing, all that stuff,
all the crashing, but the market been crashing since 2021. And the people that bought with, as far as clients with me in 2021 are now sitting on $100,000 plus dollars in equity. Some of them are already liquidating their properties a year and a half over time, because they took that leap of faith, and now they're able to kind of really cash out and either downsize if they want to, or they can expand their real estate portfolio by buying multiple properties with that liquid that they sitting on. So,
Yep. So take this, guys, right? Florida, Orlando, Miami. Yes, the market is changing, but as you see, there's so many different intricacies. It's best to reach out to professional. You got two on this right here that will take care of you and actually tell you what's going on in the market, so you can make the best decision for you and your family. So, like you said, we'll be back. You know what I'm saying? To just let you guys know what we're seeing in the market, whether it's Orlando and Miami, and just keep you guys up to date and informed. So, Terrell, I appreciate you. Go ahead.
And I want to say one last thing, man, before we wrap up, man. I just want to say congratulations to you, man, brother. I seen you like me and you have had, very similar paths,
Yeah.
business, and we, established a name in our local markets over time with hard work. But there's so many things that you do that I know, you're kind of in alignment with me when it comes to like being, humble, But I want to brag on you a little bit. 1,500 books, best-selling author, So I
Much
just want to say
love.
congratulations on that, man. I'm really proud and happy of you, man.
Much love. We gonna make it happen. We just getting started, bro.
Yes, sir. All right, man. I'll talk to you.
No doubt. Peace.
All right, man.